Board Game Homies. We're a group of friends, play, review, and share about all things board games. Sitting around the table today are
Reed,
Becky,
Gillian,
and I'm Angela. Today we're discussing Luthier, aka I went choppin', forgot my list, and had to go back home. But first, what's bringing you joy?
grown. So my New Year's board game resolution was to teach Gillian a new game every month because Gillian is always the one teaching us games. And I did it the first 2 months on the very last day of the month because I'm a procrastinator. And then I missed the previous 2 months. But this month I've taught Gillian 2 games. And so I just need to do one more because I've decided that I get to make up the rules. And so if I do a third one, I'll be all caught up. But so with all that being said, I'm feeling pretty good about having taught Gillian 4 games this year so far. We just learned Zenith and the White Castle Duel.
did you say that you were learning the games so that you would win?
No.
Wow.
Did I say that?
No, I thought you did. You said that Gillian always teaches us the games.
Oh, yeah. So I just feel like I need to do some of the work. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're just spreading it out. It's not that it gives you an unfair advantage.
Correct.
Yeah, I've never won games that I teach, so I agree.
Yeah. Well, you also...
Don't win games I don't teach? Correct. Yeah,
No.
There's not actually a through line there. Uh-huh.
No, I was going to say that you teach us the wrong rules, so maybe...
Oh, that's valid. Yeah. Well, that's why you're here, to correct them all.
I mean, I missed some of them, though.
You're not pulling any punches today, are you? This is going to be fun.
She needs more chocolate cake in her life.
I'm still waiting for Becky to teach me Voidfall. But
No,
Wow.
no, absolutely
You're
not.
going to teach all of us Voidfall?
No, that is a Gillian job.
Becky literally takes the lightest game off of our collection to teach me.
Okay.
Like Toy Battle was
It's
like
still a game.
2-page.
I
Yeah,
did
but I'm
too.
just saying, like,
I didn't teach you Toy Battle.
okay, I taught us Toy Battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still. The very first game you taught me was a 2-player trick-taking game, Bubblegum. That was like super easy.
It was the last day. It was like almost bedtime. It was
Just get over here. We need to play this game right now.
But it's amping up. So maybe by December,
Voidfall.
Fate of the Fellowship.
Wow.
Okay,
oh,
wow.
no.
Okay, I don't want to wait that long to play that game.
Oh, man, Angela's so sad right now.
Yeah.
She was just talking about Fate
How
of the
will we go
Fellowship.
there and back again?
That's
We're
a
not
different
going
game,
to.
Angela.
Oh, God. It's too many Lord of the Ring games.
And I want to play all
Well,
of them.
good thing we only have 2. We have The Hobbit.
No, you have 3.
No, we have... Okay, we have...
Yeah,
No, we don't.
you do.
Yeah, we
No, we
do.
don't. Do we?
Actually, we have 4.
Isn't
No, we
the
Oh, the
trick-taking?
trick-taking games, yeah. Well, we only have 1 Hobbit game, Angela, and that's where you go there and back again.
Well, I will say there are hobbits in all of those games.
But not every Hobbit goes there and back again.
I guess that's true.
I guess-
Some of them
well,
die.
Wow.
Read! How long have these books been out? How long have these movies been out? Actually, that's not true. All the Hobbits make it
They
back
all make
again.
it. I don't know. It's fine.
Spoilers, in case anybody wasn't aware of that. Anyway, those 2 games that you taught me, what'd you think of them?
Wait. It's just my joy that I've taught you.
But you didn't enjoy the game, so okay.
No, that's not what I'm saying. They were good games. And then, I mean, I'm excited to play more Zenith and White Castle Duel.
I enjoyed Zenith a lot. No, that was a game that it came out. Playpunk made Captain Flip, and they came out with Zenith as their second game, and I was really excited for it. I bought it before I even tried it because it was on BGA before it was even released. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love tug-of-war games, and that is the epitome of a tug-of-war game.
I'm excited to teach you 2 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really need to get that 2-player game day started.
Yeah. So the game that's bringing me joy is actually what I just mentioned was Zenith. I actually really enjoy that game. The tug of war is something I really enjoy. The back and forth between the planets and playing cards in order to move planets towards you or push them away to gain resources, and going up different tracks to activate different abilities. I really like it. It really resonated with me. So I'm excited to play that more.
Angela, have you looked at this game at all?
Yeah, it got a lot of buzz, and then Gillian bought it, but I've not played it on BGA. And then that means I just was like, once Gillian bought it, I was like, somebody will teach it at some point to me. The end.
I've played it a lot on BGA, and I don't zoom in on the cards, so I don't know what they say because they're so small. But I really enjoy the back and forth and how I think to play it. But I thought I was doing really well, and then I lost. So I don't actually think I know how to play it, but I've probably played like a solid 30 games online.
And you still don't know how to play
No,
it.
Ree just clicks games.
No,
and
I would
goes
say
click,
I do a
click,
little
click.
more strategery in this game, but not enough to watch a video. I should probably do that.
Strategery.
This reminds me of our Azul game that you just made all of us quit because you were like, I'm tired of clicking and not knowing.
Which Azul was that?
The Queen's Garden?
It was a trivia question from a previous pod, so you better get it right.
And I did get it right.
And that game got it wrong. And Reed said, no, thank you. Well, Becky, I want to jump on to what you said and steal your joy for my joy, which is an update on my New Year's resolutions. I'm very happy. We've been chugging along, especially most recently, on knocking out our big list of games we want to get played. So that has been really cool. But one of my resolutions was to buy less games because I have a ton of them sitting that I need to learn how to play. And I bought my first game of the new year recently, and this doesn't count Kickstarters where I keep having to pay for shipping. My God, if you back a game, trust me, it's like you buy the game a second time 8 months later. But I bought the Lord of the Rings game to play with Ashton.
The Hobbit game. Thank you very much.
Yep. So that we can go there and back again and use bread tokens. And I hope that we play that one. And fun fact, I technically got a second game, but I paid no dollars, so it doesn't count because I paid those dollars before my resolution when I unheld my copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Game Nerds and got very, very excited that my copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming in. So
That's the Unmatched game.
yeah, the cooperative, surprisingly enough, Unmatched Tales to Amaze, or not Tales to Amaze, but it's like
That you ordered in the midst of playing the game for the first time.
yeah, definitely. And then for some reason it hit hold, and then they just held my game because I'm a dork.
Those shiny pizza cards were definitely worth it.
Yeah, I got the upgraded pack, and I got the pizza upgrades. I got the 3D figures.
Did you get the pizza box?
Yeah.
I'm interested because I decided not to get that because I felt like it would clutter the board up too much. And I felt like the quote on the back really rubbed me the wrong way. It was something along the lines of, the best topping on pizza is plastic or something like that. And I was like, no. So I didn't get it.
It's okay that it would be plastic, just don't call attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very our environmentalism down deep,
Yes,
Reed.
Reed. Also, I just want to say I don't think it's surprising that it's a cooperative game because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work together.
Well, you know what? I'm going to play a Shredder next time and kick y'all.
You can't.
You're all y'all's Luthier.
Wait, Gillian.
That was funny.
We'll never play cooperative games again.
That's not true.
Okay, no
Probably.
Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
No.
Or
Man.
the pandemic.
Or the
style game.
trick-taking game.
We only play Lord of the Rings cooperative games.
How many are there?
So many.
So many.
We own 3 in this household, apparently.
Oh, I own one Lord of the Rings game, the dual game.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So we have like 5 Lord of the Rings games.
4 Lord of the Rings games, 1 Hobbit game.
I just rolled my eyes, just so everyone
This is an
knows.
audio medium, Becky.
My joy game is a game that fits around a downstairs table because I broke my leg and I cannot go upstairs. So we are limited that for games that fit on a smaller table. And I was thinking about a game that we have played on this smaller table that I would like to play again, which is Root.
Oh, Root. We just got the new expansion in, the Homeland expansion.
I'm very excited.
You get to play as airplanes.
What?
No.
No,
No,
I'm
you get to
kidding.
play as frogs, bats, and skunks.
I would
Or
like to be a
knaves.
bat. Maybe.
No, you get to be the frogs.
I would also like to be a frog. I really like the lizard people.
You use the frog meme all the time. You need to play as
Oh,
the
is that the
frogs.
same frog?
Yes, that is the frog.
I love that frog meeple. It's like so like, yeah, that. It's the embodiment of that.
The picture for this episode is just the frog meeple, and you'll know what our text messages look like.
I love Rue, and I would really like to play it again. I would like to see Angela venture out from being the cats, just so you could experience some different things.
I feel like we need to play more frequently in closer timelines to get Angela to branch out.
Look, I know how to play the cats right now. I can 42% say I know how to play the birds. It's like I have to learn another game
Yes.
Yeah,
to learn just who to be.
that's fine. I mean,
Okay, all right.
she's your favorite animal.
I think we just have to know that we're going to play Rue and then make Angela prepare.
I know. I think I want to play with bats next.
No,
That's
I want to
all.
be the bats.
Weren't you gonna be like the vagabonds?
Oh no, I want to be.
Or the badgers?
I want to be the crows. That's why I want to be the corvids.
Guys,
Hey.
what if I was the cats?
No!
Just putting it out there.
No.
Luthier, published in 2025, plays 1 to 4 players. It's designed by Dave Beck and Abe Burson, and the art is by Vincent Dutray, Guillaume Tavernier, and it's published by Paverson Games. It retails for $89.99 United States dollars, and the deluxe version retails for $129.99. Becky, how do we play Luthier?
Luthier, the art of the instrument, takes place in the height of classical music in Western Europe. Each player takes on a family of artisans eager to pursue prestige by satisfying patrons' requests for instruments, performances, and instrument repairs. By keeping your patrons happy, by building instruments, performing different styles of music, and repairing instruments, they reward you with gifts. But if you take too long to complete their requests, they will abandon you and speak poorly of your family, decreasing your prestige. The player who gains the most prestige points wins the game. Luthier, I don't even know, is played over 6 rounds consisting of start of round steps, a planning phase, a resolution phase, and end of round steps. On the player's workbench, their personal player board, there are 3 spots for maintaining active patrons, and 2 action locations. The roughing bench, where instruments are added to be assembled, and the finishing bench, where instruments that have been roughed are now finished to satisfy patron requests. On the shared board, there are several action locations with a main action or an alternative action to gain resources. Players visit the salon to attract new patrons and the guild to obtain new instrument plans to build for their patrons. The perform and repair location allow players to either put on a performance or repair specific instruments to complete patron requests, which help to reset a patron's patience level. And finally, the balcony allows players to rub elbows with the elites for additional recognition, money, or assistance. At the beginning of each round, your active patrons' patience cubes advance, and you either receive gifts or watch them lose patience and walk away. During the planning phase, players secretly place their workers, numbered 1 to 5, on the various locations on the main board and their personal workbench, optionally adding assistants to increase the value of their workers. During this phase, players are deciding on which resources they need to collect and which actions they can complete this round, all while weighing the importance of their turn order at each location and even what order the locations will be resolved. At the start of the resolution phase, the current player selects the location to activate, and all workers are revealed in the order they were placed and rearranged so the highest valued worker takes the action first. You can place multiple workers on a location to take the action more than once. After that location has been resolved, the next player chooses the next location to be resolved. Once all locations have been selected and all players have passed, there are a few end-of-round steps to clean up the board and refresh cards. Through all of this, players are, hopefully, advancing up the performance, reputation, and craft tracks to claim additional benefits to help them as they work to succeed in their secret personal goals, claim public awards, and bask in the glory of first seats in the orchestra. All of this combined with gaining prestige points from building instruments, high-quality performances, and happy patrons will reveal the most prestigious artisan family and the winner of the game. I am so glad this is not my regular pod job. This is awful.
I gotta say, if you open up this beast of a box, it's fairly large. One of the things that really stands out is Vincent Dutray's art. You may know Vincent Dutray from The Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle-earth, which we maybe just mentioned, Quest for El Dorado, Robinson Crusoe, Heat, Pedal to the Metal, Jaipur. I really love their art style. I think this game is very beautiful. It's kind of a looker from the cards, the color palette. I thought it was really pretty. I thought he did a great job.
Personally, when you said that the base game is $89.99, I was very shocked. That seems like a pretty expensive base game.
I mean, even the base game is fairly deluxeified in comparison to some of the other games out on the market.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's rather large. Like, it's not like the size of a Lacerda or anything, but I would say that it's got a pretty good heft to it. The cardboard for the money is great. You have cubes, and then you do have wooden pieces for the player pieces that go around, and your bidding tokens are also made out of wood.
So. I will say the box itself is the size of a standard Lacerda game.
Mm-hmm.
Eagle Griffin.
Does not have a nice enough insert for a...
I know, it's lacking in that regard.
I was like, anyway, this is just bags.
I guess Reed is... I don't know. You've brought me along. I think I kind of agree with you about the $89. I mean, it does seem like there are a lot of nice components, but when I'm thinking about other games that are maybe in the $60 range, I would expect a little bit more in the base game. So where are those dual layered player boards that Angela complains about each game?
It really needs a dual layer player board. Look, I mean, I know it doesn't, and people are shaking their head. So part of the game mechanic is you have these patrons, these bourgeoisie, these composers, these noblemen who you are making instruments for, and they're going to get annoyed at you, or I should say, let me rephrase that. They're going to get annoyed at Reed and leave Reed, because that was the theme of our games.
I lost so many points on that.
So many people.
So many.
So much. And so there's a little cube that moves along a little track underneath each of the patrons. If it was a dual layered board, that little cube would fit so snugly into each section as they got more and more upset at you. And it does not exist. And I swear to you, if it had dual layer boards, I'd be like, worth it. $89. Perfect.
It exists in the deluxe edition.
$129, Gillian. Am I made of money?
Not this year, apparently.
Maybe just cardboard money, Angela.
Well, in the deluxe edition, I don't know that the resource cubes that you get instead of your standard cubes, like wooden cubes, really looks that appealing to me. And so, whilst I've not seen it and cannot judge, I don't know that the 129 is the version I would go for.
I think that the overall design, though, is really thoughtful. Like, I really appreciate that the board itself, the main board that we share, is not just a basic rectangle. Do you guys know what the building is specifically?
To be fair, the main board is a basic rectangle.
No. What I'm saying is that it has like cutouts. I'm trying to make the cutouts.
Oh, you're talking
with
about
my
player
hands.
boards, not the main board.
No, the main board, the sides that
Oh,
cuts
yeah, okay,
in, so it
yeah,
looks like a
okay.
fancy building.
You're right.
And then there also are a lot of options for, you have trophies that you can put on the goals for the like public goals, and those are different little I was trying to get Reed to help me figure out what they're called.
Domes, maybe?
Domes, caps.
Could be.
Yeah, so they're like domes on the top of the building. And so you just add those to the board, which there's the one big dome where the reputation track is, or sorry, that's where the turn
That's
order
a round tracker.
round tracker. And then it has little domes for what that game's public goals are. And
Sure,
I really like how they did that. And there's also one on the bottom for the market. So even though the board game's a little bit modular, like it looks really good.
Yeah, I would say, like, in my version of the game that we played, I felt like I was a little off-put in a way in that the coloring or the paint on the wooden pieces was fairly inconsistent. Some pieces had heavy paint, so it was largely colored in. Other pieces had lighter paint, so you could kind of see the wood grain through it. So it was just, I felt like the inconsistency in the paint was a little off-putting for me. So I think that notched down a little bit, given the price of the base game. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. The deluxe edition does come with like screen printed wooden pieces. So instead of just this kind of amorphous pedestal with a violin on top, it actually has screen printed on it, so you can kind of tell what it is, because Becky complained about that.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, that really is the worst piece in the game. And maybe the horse and cart, too. It's just like, those really could have been screen printed.
I always think that the violin on the stand or whatever the first chair is like the thinker statue.
Yes!
It looks just like that.
Yes.
And then I couldn't even figure out what the horse and the buggy was, mainly because I often have mine upside down, but
I think that's Angela's fault, because she often puts them upside down.
That's
yeah.
true.
I
It's
can't
her
tell
job.
which way they go.
I can see the little horse now, but then the buggy is just like not very buggy-like. Wow, this is really nitpicky. Sorry.
It is nitpicky. I mean, given the cost, though, it's just a little shocking that there are these little nitpicks that we do have. I mean, admittedly, a lot of them are resolved with the deluxe edition, in that there is screen printed wooden pieces in there, so you can tell what they are exactly. It's just that in the base version, they're more amorphous. You don't see kind of the detailing there.
Well, and I think even the resources are an upgrade of the upgrade, but you do get, which is nice, you ditch your baggies and you get component holders for each player that look gorgeous. But even in the basic edition, I have to say there's a spot where you can go in perform. It's the perform action where you roll dice to do a performance, and those dice are gorgeous. They're wooden. They've got like rounded edges, and instead of numbers, they have
Music notes.
music notes. Yeah, and you count each of them for what you roll, and there's the bonus dice. And I thought those were just so lovely to roll and so lovely crafted.
They're beautiful. I especially like the basic dice you start with. Like, they really look like they remind me of antique piano keys going on. It's very pretty.
There is, look, if we're going to get real bougie with it, which we are not. This is the year where we are frugal and we play the games on our shelf. But also, there is a wooden Luthier pipe organ dice tower. Gillian's like, yeah, I should have got that.
Wait,
That
show me the
is
picture.
Gorgeous. This is
No,
this
don't
is,
show her the
This
picture.
is a audio medium, but maybe Becky will post photos of how
Becky looks like a
gorgeous.
golden retriever right now.
It's really beautiful, but it's an add-on of an add-on. So because the game was on Kickstarter, like, you can easily see yourself. If you love this game, you could spend $300 on everything from the enamel pin to the fancy upgraded baton that you can get, the acrylic worker chips, the metal coins, the play mats, the special card sleeves. There is a lot of upgrades that you can do for this game.
Talking about non-upgrades, but the thing that comes on the base game is the resolution track. Essentially, it's the neck of a violin that you just pass around to determine whose turn it is, or so you can easily look and see whose turn it is. But then on each location, there might be multiple people that have placed tokens down to take that action, and it's all hidden. And whoever's turn it is, they choose one of the actions to take, and they flip all of those tokens up, and and they put them in order from whoever placed first, and then second, and then third, and then based on the value, they'll reorganize them based on highest to lowest. And so that little neck of the violin is used to determine who takes their action first, and second, third, and so on. And I felt like that was really cool. That said, I felt like we weren't very consistent in passing that around and actually utilizing it. So that was a faux pas on our part.
I enjoyed the play of stacking them and then moving them out to determine player order. I thought that was a little superfluous, the neck, and was ridiculous. It was very large. It was like a very large component to be handing around, and it didn't seem like it was critical to the play.
I do have mixed feelings about it because I also think it's kind of a hassle, but because so many people take a turn during one person's actual turn, the person who's deciding which location is being resolved, it's good to have some kind of thing that is also useful that you're handing over to be like, it is your, like, Reed has the neck, it is Reed's turn, so we can know who's next in turn order. But I also think that it makes it so around the table, it is very clear of where the start is and where the end is in terms of like the bottom of the pile. It's like, I agree and not agree.
Yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
I would incorporate it into the board and put a little player token or something like that on top of the turn order stuff. It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I hear that. It didn't make you feel like you were working on an instrument?
No, also...
Should we make everybody hold it up against their neck and then place the tokens
think I
there?
have beef because there's another component that you're supposed to get, which is the wand, and I feel like the wand did not get...
I don't know.
The
wand.
baton. Okay.
This is
the magic conductor.
The baton.
The baton.
This isn't a magical game. It's
Okay,
a musical
well,
game.
okay. The baton did not get passed to me in this game. I never got to point and be like, this is what I want.
Yeah, we gave it to Angela, and then it just died over there.
Okay, look, here's the thing. I think there are a few components that are just very cute for putting into the game. The baton is one of them. It is the conductor's baton. You point, you're like, I'm going to do this action. Trust me, by turn 8, you do not care about the baton. You are like, there is too much stuff on this table. You have like a side full of components. There's a point that we'll talk about. You get a special token, but then you get 3 special tokens, and you're like, what are even my token numbers anymore? It's just a little much. I love the cutesiness, though. It also, again, to play on the cutesiness, which we never passed around, we never talked about, it has the tiniest violin.
Well, the only person that gets that is the person who takes last place.
Yeah, Becky.
Yeah, and did we have you pose with it at the end of all your losses? No, we did not.
Wait,
Your losses, Becky.
How many times did you get the violin?
Are we counting
Becky?
the internet as well, or
That game's still going. We're still in the first
is
round.
it Becky?
Okay, wait, but what if the neck just sat by the market, like Reed wants it just to be part of the board, and then you pass the baton for the first player?
I will
player.
say during our plays, like, we weren't very consistent in passing around that kind of neck to determine whose turn it was. And there were a lot of times where we were like, whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? Because either we were in our own headspace trying to figure out what we're going to do next, or we just weren't paying attention and somebody just activated their own personal workshop, which was like not interacting with any other player. So it was difficult at times to know whose turn it was because we weren't consistent in passing it around. So I will say I do agree that it is a fairly large component to have to pass around when all you're doing is, I'm going to take this token off, I'm the only one there, and I get 3 cubes. That's all I'm doing. Pros and cons.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was some cute stuff, and there's some superfluously, you know that word, stuff that's in the game that I don't know that you necessarily need.
I wasn't sure how the baton was supposed to be used in the game. Also, the base game just comes with a cardboard baton, which is kind of sad because I know the deluxe version isn't like an actual
You got to get the
plastic
upgrade.
baton.
You got to get the nice one.
Yeah.
Okay, but also it's so fun to hold and point at locations.
It feels like it's going to break, though. We need an actual
That's-
baton.
Yeah, that's true. And we also almost threw it on the floor, I think, upstairs during our 4-player game. It was sketch.
Was that just you and Reed? That was your side of the table.
You don't know us.
Well, this game at its heart is a worker placement game with a bidding mechanic. One of the things that I really like about this game that feels a little bit different than some other worker placement games we've played recently is that you blind bid your things. So you have a series of tokens and then you bid on locations that you want to go to in turn order. I found that to be one of the most delightful parts of this game because I enjoyed... Oh, I should say enjoy is not the right word. I got screwed a time or two, and I think I ended up doing it to a few folks, namely Becky in our last game, where when it's your turn, you get to choose the location you want to resolve where one of your tokens are. If things are not done in the order you need them to, it's a wasted action, and that was actually kind of fun to see whether or not you were going to get blown up and have to take some sort of pity action, or whether your grand plan was going to be enacted where you could get the thing you needed, get the resources you needed, and then play the thing that you had, and then even go score up in the balcony to get that goal. And I liked that because I liked at times getting kind of screwed out of a space. It kept me on my toes. It was very fun.
Yeah, and so and just in case it wasn't clear, it's kind of a blind action selection where you place a token down that has a numerical value associated with it. And you could put down a 3, and then somebody else puts down a token on top of yours, and then when you come to resolve that action, you reveal your 3, and then somebody came along and put their 5 down. So there's a stronger, they resolve their action first. They take the card that you really wanted and the only card you could really afford, and then you're kind of left with taking the other action associated with that space, which is largely just get resources of some type. And so there are a lot of different steps involved in terms of, can I actually get what I need? Can I take this action in the sequence that I need it to happen in order to get what I need? And all of those things come into play in the game. And it's a very interesting kind of action selection component to the game.
The last game that we played, I was more aware of that because I kept having my things activated in order where I didn't have enough resources to do it. So I had to be really proactive about it this time and make sure that I had enough resources in order to build my instruments or rough my instruments. And I think that this last game that we played, because of how I was trying not to lose patrons and trying to do all these different things so I didn't have all my points taken away, I ended up using my personal bench a lot, and that was easier just to end up using the different places for resources. So it didn't matter when I could choose when to activate my own spaces.
Another thing I really liked about the game is that as the play goes on, there's this thing where patrons are going to get upset at you, but if you fulfill something that they need, they maybe have 3 different things that they need on their card. And if you do one of those 3, your cube gets pushed backwards. You get a little bit more time for them to stay on your board. So you're always trying to be mindful. Well, most of us are trying to be mindful of when our patrons leave. And so that's a really fun dynamic, except you're so focused on this one person and getting everything that you need. Another piece I really appreciated about the game was having to think 3 or 4 steps ahead, which I did not do well, which was, hey, even though I already have, 2 patrons and an instrument, it's like, actually, I should be getting my instrument right now earlier. I should get another patron now earlier, because once you get an empty board where you have no patrons or no instruments, you're actually behind. You almost have to take an entire turn just to go get all of those things, where you could slowly be trying to add them to your board, even though you're balancing this mechanic of like, hey, now you have 3 patrons, that's way too many, and maybe you are going to lose somebody, but that anxiety you need to balance with them trying to leave is better than having an empty board at times.
I'd also say balancing your actions is pivotal in this game, because at the start of the game you have 3 tokens, so you can only do 3 actions in the game to start. As the game progresses, you'll unlock 2 more tokens, so you'll have more actions by the end of the game than you will at the start. And so the early game is very much like, how do you squeeze the most out of these 3 actions that you have when you're pulled in so many different directions, be it roughing an instrument, finishing an instrument, satisfying your patron, getting more patrons, getting more instruments, and repairing or performing. It's just there are a lot of things that you're split amongst, and so trying to prioritize and efficiently execute those actions is pivotal and difficult.
During this game, I think a lot about how risk adverse I am. And it's really hard to play this game that way because you do have to take a chance, but you also have a lot of ways you can set yourself up. Like you both were just talking about some of it in terms of, being ready for what's going to happen in the next 4 kind of turns. And it's really tricky because there also are like just at the performance location, you roll dice. And so you do have some things that you control. You control what number your worker is. The value of that adds towards your performance your final number. You also can add inspiration points to get it up there. But like if you roll 2 of the basic dice and you get blanks like Angela did.
All the time, Becky.
It's just... And especially near the beginning of the game, like you're just kind of screwed. I mean, you still get some money, but that's it. You don't get to place a token in the orchestra and you don't get to use it to help your patron. And so there definitely were some feel bad moments with that, but I don't know if it's just like, was Angela being too risky? You failed, 3 times in a row?
Yeah, the
4?
first game we played, I went there and I failed 3 times. No, the first time I didn't realize that. So on each performance card, there are 3 levels. And if you do the first level, you don't actually get to place a token and get the bonuses. You just score this, usually just $5. And it's really 2 and 3. So in order to roll, you've got to, you get your starting number that you bid. So if you placed a 5, you're like, whoa, great, I started a 5. Cool. If you don't get 9 or 10, you don't get the bonuses. You don't get any of the things. And so you're looking for more multipliers or you're preying on these dice. Anyway, I didn't realize that you didn't need the first row. And so I was so happy. I was like, yay, I did it. It was so easy. And everyone was like, no. And I was like, no. But I like that because everything else doesn't feel like a luck element. But the dice certainly feel like luck that you need to be modified with. Anyway, I failed a lot. It's fine.
There's so much to balance in this game with all of the different components and where you go that this last game did not do any performance, and I don't even, maybe at the very end I got another patron, but I really just stuck on the right side of the board and fulfilled as much as I could by just doing repairs and building instruments.
And I will say that's a completely valid strategy because we've had games. Becky and I have played this now 4 times. Once at 2 players, once at 3 players, and 2 times at 4. And I feel like each game has been different for me, or at least I've taken a different approach in each game. And I felt like they're all fairly valid. Like you could just go, I'm going to make instruments. I'm not going to worry about performing. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to focus on performance and do fairly well there. Or I'm just going to satisfy patrons and call it good. And so I think there are a lot of different approaches to the game. It doesn't feel like you're pigeonholed into a singular strategy. And so that's a refreshing aspect of the game.
I do wish that I had fulfilled more patrons that gave me end goal scoring because I was ahead and then trying to keep up with Gillian. And then as soon as those end game patron scores came in, that's when the game just kind of exploded and we all kind of separated from each other.
Yeah, and to that point, the patron deck consists of A and B patrons. A's are available kind of the first half of the game. Then you hit a certain point and you discard all of the A's and you put out the B patrons. The B patrons are often more, they have more requirements that you have to meet, but they also give you end game objectives. But they are not super lucrative, at least in this last game. I think I only got 3 points off of my 1 patron that had end game scoring, but it just depends on who you get and how it goes.
I think it's interesting that the other decks aren't set up that way as well. Like back to the performances, some of them are really hard. And if you haven't gone up that track to help you with being able to re-roll a die, to use the upgraded dice, you're struggling. And over on the repair side too, there's some of those cards that require so many cubes to repair, and like in the beginning that's so much to spend. So I really am truly surprised that not all of the decks kind of have a here's the A stack and then here's the B stack. Because also, the very first game we played, like I needed horns. I needed horns for everyone, and there were absolutely no horns until I think the fourth round of the game. And so I had to do the one action where you spend your assistant and $10/inspiration so you can search through the deck to find one. And at that point, it was like literally on the top of the deck, but I needed a horn, and there were none.
Yeah, and I will say, like, that's one kind of potential negative, talking about randomness, is that the decks themselves also have randomness built in, because you may not see what you need to satisfy a patron. Like, some of the patrons require you to have built a piano and taken first seat in that. And it's just not always feasible, because especially the pianos, they're a few and far between relative to the stringed instruments. And so there are times where you kind of get stuck just trying to make it through, and then eventually having to spend a lot of resources to find it through the deck. So that is a kind of negative aspect, a little bit of randomness there as well, in addition to the dice.
I am glad that there is a mechanic to help you if you are absolutely stuck, like with my horns. But yeah, I think it's hard when you have a game with a lot, I don't know, very specific requirements. Though, as I was saying that out loud, I was like, well, actually, they are kind of kind in that if they have more than one requirement, you can either do a performance of a certain type, you can repair a certain type of item, or you can build them a specific instrument. So it does give you some flexibility there,
But all of them have at least one requirement of building a certain type of instrument, constructing it, roughing it, and then finishing it. And if that doesn't come up for you in the deck of instruments, then that's an unfortunate situation.
You also get, if you're the first person to finish an instrument, you get to be first chair, which is nice. Reed and I were playing a game, and we had the same starting instrument, because you get dealt two and then you get to choose one. And there was just such a race in my head of like, oh my God, they are going to get this instrument, and then they're going to be first chair, so I won't get the better bonus. I'm going to get like the cruddy bonus. And so it's not like there's one instrument type that you then place in the orchestra. There are multiples. And so you finally do the thing. You've worked so hard. You've crafted this instrument. You put it in the orchestra, and some jerkface is already there. And you're like, the bassoon? Who completed the bassoon before me? And you're in like this kind of rage for it. But I like that. I like that there isn't, hey, everybody gets an instrument. I like this push and pull. Like, hey, you better dig around and find it. I didn't even realize there were less pianos. But that makes sense, because I was like, wow, I do a lot of horned and string instruments. I don't do a lot of pianos. This last game was the first time I'd done a piano.
I do think the orchestra is an interesting place. So it's in the middle of the board, takes up a decent amount of space, but you put those tokens or not tokens, but pieces we were talking about earlier, that's like the violin on a pedestal that looks like the thinking man. Those go in once you've built an instrument, but you also are putting tokens for when you're doing performances and for when you're doing repairs. And so I like that there's this one place where kind of all these spots have something that works together.
Yeah, and the component of that is that if you get first chair with an instrument, nobody can kick you out of that first chair. But if you get first chair through a repair or performance, you'll get the resources for that first chair, but somebody could come along and kick you out if they build an instrument and take that first chair from you. But if nobody does, you maintain that first chair through the game, and you'll end up getting victory points at the end for the number of first chairs you have. And so there is that component of kind of an area control-ish type of scoring towards the end of the game.
Yeah, even when you were saying that, I also really like the thematic nature of this game, that you're building instruments, but then you're like building instruments in the Baroque era, or you need pianos. It just kind of flows really nicely. Not being a classical music nerd, I found it very enlightening about how all the pieces came together. Even the resources are based off of like animal, wood, or was it metal that you would use to craft an instrument. And I don't know, it just harkened back to a time when folks like crafted instruments. I know folks craft instruments now. That's not, I know that it still exists, but yeah, being able to collect all the components to make things or have to dig around kind of reminded me how hard it must have been hundreds of years ago to just make an instrument.
The other big component of gameplay is the objectives that you can achieve throughout the game. And so in a 4-player game, you're going to have these 4 little domes that you add to the top of the main board, and those are going to define what the objectives are for that game. And they could be anywhere from build instruments in the Baroque section of the orchestra, or have a patron or satisfy a patron that is associated with the 3 different types of music in the game. And that in itself is a race. You have 3 tokens on your player board that you can devote to achieving those objectives, but there are 3 spaces on each objective. One is the first space is usually the lesser of them, getting you fewer victory points, but also lesser requirements. So you only need like 1 patron, for instance, that's associated with one of those types of musical eras. But that's an interesting component of just trying to do that race, because you benefit from removing those from your board early because you'll get benefits. Like one of them will increase the storage space you have in your workshop so you can hold 12 cubes instead of 9. And it will also give you a cube at the start of each round. So getting that out early is really useful. Another one will give you a special die when you do a performance that'll give you resources. And so there's always that balance and kind of that race of trying to get those objective markers out there to score victory points, or just to free up your workshop and give you additional benefits.
I understand why it's not a free action, because you go to the balcony and you're making this decision, and I understand why the designers would want it to be competitive, that you have to choose between that and another action. I want it to be a free action. It is so frustrating to have to use your turn to get 1 point.
You have to think ahead, Reed. This ain't no terraforming Mars.
It is very frustrating.
It's not just 1 point. You're also getting a benefit from unlocking a space or whatever on your board.
Yeah, I think I unlocked a space at the very end that was the special card, and it didn't make it. It gave me 1 additional point, but I didn't actually get to use that.
And to make matters worse, I think the thing that really sticks in your craw is that Gillian uses that track so efficiently. So when he moves up there, I think there was a game, maybe it was the 3-player game, he would go up that track and then could just keep putting trophies up. So he didn't put any out, but he had moved so far up the track that when you go up, there's a space at the very end to, as a free action for moving up the track, you can put out one of your 3 trophies if you want. And it seemed like cheating that you could just go back and do it repeatedly. And I think on the last turn...
Well, Angela, that would be cheating because you can only do it once.
It is cheating.
And I didn't do that. I just did the 1.
I know. I there was this moment where I was like, how did you do that? And then I was like, I've never gotten up that track that high.
It's really funny, though, because the first couple of plays Becky and I had, the 2-player and then the 4-player, I felt like none of us really did well going up any of the tracks. Mm-hmm. But then the second and third game we played collectively, I felt like we collectively did a lot better going up the different tracks.
Okay, well, not all of us did in all of those games.
Sorry, Becky.
And Reed.
No, we did well.
I did not do well this last game, and there were moments where I was like, okay, I could go up all of the different tracks, but there's no way that I can go all up the different tracks and then get the objective card for that. Yeah, I was doing math. It was not mathing for me.
I would say that's also an aspect where getting apprentices is extremely helpful, because apprentices will modify or increase the number of the token you put down. So a 3 alongside an apprentice will become a 4. And so 4s are usually the minimum needed to increase or go up a track or get the additional bonus for each of the action spaces. So the 3s, 4, and 5 tokens are usually really useful, whereas the 1s and 2s are not so much.
This last game.
Last game.
Sorry. This last game, I got really trapped in having to spend, choosing to spend my 4s and 5s in to get patrons and instruments because I needed such specific things. And those don't go up any tracks. And so I was just putting piddly numbers in everywhere else. And that is not the way to play this game. You've got to put those 4s and 5s in the tracks that move you up, or in the spots that move you up tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I really like about this game is this evolution of trying to figure out what are some of the best ways to be better at, because there is that dichotomy of you can't do everything, what do you do? And when you move up these tracks, like they unlock things that become better for you, but it's way better for you early game than it is late game. And so moving up them and being as efficient as possible on your board then means in later turns you've unlocked things, or you have certain benefits, or you're getting +1s and you're maximizing it. And I think it'll take a lot of plays to be able to unlock real mastery of the game. And that's what I really enjoy. I think there's some variability to it with the patron cards. I could see it getting maybe a little samey after a while, but I do think there's this efficiency puzzle buried within the game that is kind of interesting to try and figure out and unlock. And I don't think I've even scratched the surface of certainly not playing well, but even playing adequately to unlock those pieces.
I also say it's hard to strategize early on because you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know what cards are going to come up, if you're going to see what your patron needs. And so you have to be adaptable in terms of what's coming your way and be able to be flexible in your approach to the game.
Wow, that was really well said, you two. I'm just a little bit impressed. Good job.
It's almost like we should start a podcast where we talk about our thoughts about games. Yeah,
that was a moment. If we'd been sitting around the table, I would have said, "Wow, you guys really should be on a podcast."
2 years later, it's really clicking in. A few years in,
Doing great. I enjoy the exploration of this game and thinking through the different paths to victory. Am I close enough?
Talking into the mic.
She's talking at Becky, not into the mic.
Is. Do you need us to turn this because of your leg? Remember that time you broke your leg?
Yes. You all said it really well. There's a lot to explore with this game, multiple paths to victory, and I think that this is a game that has a lot of replayability, and I'm into that.
I also think if you have been playing a lot of Ember Heart or maybe a lot of Viticulture and you want to go the next step up and maybe a crunchy factor, I think this is a good game to start playing after those. The bidding mechanic in Ember Heart really reminds me of this game, and fighting for the different spaces, although those go in a very specific order, but still I said it and I'm sticking to it. And there's just some, I don't know, I've been thinking about how this game reminds me of Viticulture, so I'm sticking with that too.
Is it because you always take last place?
Okay.
Wow.
Becky, where's your little tiny violin now?
Where's the baton?
Wait, no. I
think it's also, Becky, does that mean that you're done with this game?
No.
I mean, you're done with Ember Heart and Viticulture,
yes.
So it's a hard comparison to make,
no,
Becky.
I will still play Viticulture together.
Me.
Collaboratively. What is that?
Cooperative.
Thank you.
Which we have never done and have talked about it.
Well, she
Becky
hates
and I did it
cooperative
once.
games.
Yeah.
I liked it, and Gillian was like, "Boo!
I just wanted to
want
crush
to crush
grapes
you
on
like
my
grapes."
opponent.
Yep, exactly.
Being your wife that loves you, but not for long.
Becky, I do have to say that when you were texting Angela and me about this game, you said it's like a grown-up Ember Heart or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And I don't know if that sold it.
I don't think that's I get the comparison, but I don't think that's quite accurate. Like, one thing that I think really makes this game more interesting is that you place the discs face down. You don't know what your opponent's placed. You don't know where you're going to be resolving actions. Whereas in Ember Heart, it's all plain as day. You see exactly where players placed and who's going to resolve first versus second versus third. Whereas in Luthier, it's all opaque until people choose to resolve that space.
That's why it's the grown-up version.
I think also furnace vibes, but maybe that's just like the little token, the bid tokens.
It's just the
that you
win
have.
tokens.
The win tokens. It's just the numbers. You bid.
Yeah.
I also think this game is maybe best at 3 players. Is that a hot take?
Which one of us is getting cold, Becky?
None.
Gillian.
I don't
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I liked it at 4 players because it feels like the orchestra is very contested, and I really enjoy that aspect.
Yeah, certainly when you play at lower player counts, the orchestra is not. You're going to score way more first chairs for everything. When we play 4, it's like, I was surprised in our last play there were spots that didn't have instruments. That could also be because some of us didn't bring our A game, and I will admit that was probably me. I did way less, it felt like, this last game. But yeah, it does play differently at 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, because there's one fewer card in the one space for both the repairs and the performances. And that makes a huge difference in the early game at 3 and 2 players. It just feels like if somebody goes there first, you feel like you can't go there.
Yeah, you
because
better have
it's
money.
too cost prohibitive. Whereas in a 4-player game, there are 2 level 1 cards which are accessible to everybody at the beginning of the game, and so you think you might be able to outbid somebody, and so it just provides a different dynamic in 4 players.
Also in the 2-player game, there's just not enough of the cards moving. There are less cards to pick from, and they don't cycle through as quickly or quick enough.
This game was around 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. It felt a little long, I would say, at 4 players, but I think it was shorter than our last 4-player game.
But I would expect this game to be 2 hours. You know, like for a game of this weight, I'm kind of in for it. It's not a medium weight game. It's heavier. There's more pieces. I think this is, if it's 2.5 or 3, then I'm kind of like, this is a little bit like not meeting my time expectations and standards. But I do like it as a 2-hour crunchier, meatier version of a game.
So I guess the question I have for you then is, who is this game for? At that kind of time and weight class, who's this game for?
Initially, I would say that it's for me. I really enjoy this game. I enjoy this medium heavy weight, but then the time is really long, and I'm like, oh, are there other games that are some of our like go-to comfort games that I would pick out over this? And I think that there are a lot of games that are around that same weight that maybe play a little bit faster or feel a little bit faster than this one.
What's an example?
I think like Brass is right around there. And so I'm like, oh, would I want to spend time playing Brass or this? And I don't want to bring everything back to Brass all the time. I do love it. It's not like in my top like 5 games or anything like that. But it's not even in my top 10 games.
Brass isn't?
Oh my God.
No. Is
Dear
this
listener,
What the heck?
dear listener, if you would like to submit to be one of the homies, we are now taking applications on Board Game Homies. Hit us up on Instagram, Blue Sky, or Board Game Geek. We have had a loss in the family, unfortunately. Please apply.
Okay, I rank my games all the time at like early in the morning, and I send them to you, and I have never had Brass.
I've not seen that list in a very long time.
Also, 3 a.m. read isn't real read.
Yeah, that'll change in like 3 hours.
It is the realest one.
No, in 3 hours, you'll get a different list.
Well, that's because I forgot I did the first list
Yeah.
at 3 a.m.
It's an ever-changing
and then
list.
you'll forget 12 games that you didn't put on.
Okay, so not Brass, not one of our other kind of go-to comfort games, but I do love having this be something that I feel like we could pull out from time to time. I just don't know how often that time to time is.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Like, I think this game is for folks who like heavier games. I think it's a good game. I enjoy playing it. I'm not going to say no to a game. I might get more plays if this game was to, say, be digital. my worry for this game is that it's not going, because it doesn't hit the top tier echelon, like it didn't immediately capture the table, that it might find itself at the back of a cabinet somewhere getting way less plays. But I also think that's maybe just a part of a game playing a lot of board games, and not everything floats to the top, nor does it. But I still think it's a really solid game, and I would love to teach it to others, and I would play it. It doesn't have a home in my collection. I don't think this is for our other game group. I think I would only play this with folks who like heavier worker placement games.
Yeah, I think this game has grown on me. The first time Becky and I played it 2-player, I was a little underwhelmed, I think. Then we played it at 4, and it opened up a bit. And then I think the subsequent plays, the 3-player and then another 4-player, really kind of increased my appreciation of the game. Because it is, I love worker placement. I think that's one of my favorite mechanisms in games. And this has a very unique take on it because it has a bidding component to it, like a hidden bidding worker placement game, which I think is fairly unique. I can't think of another game that has that type of mechanism. And so I appreciate it for that regard, but I would also say it's a very thematic Euro game. You do feel like, oh, geez, these patrons are really like getting upset with me. They're losing patience. I need to fulfill their requirements. And you're building instruments, you're roughing them, you're finishing them, you're going into the orchestra, you're performing. And so I feel like every action that you take in this game feels very thematic in kind of the setting that the game takes place in. And I appreciate it for that regard because I think there are a lot of Euro games that I do like that are less grounded, I guess, and more abstract. And so that aspect, I think, would kind of cater towards people that enjoy theme in a game, but also appreciate kind of heavier games as well.
When I came back inside, when I paused the game, I took the dog out and I came back in, and then people were saying that you said maybe you didn't like this game as much, so I was very surprised by what you just said. But I'm also realizing maybe that was just hearsay and you guys were just
we were
saying...
just lying to you, yeah.
Oh, no, what? No.
Mostly.
Okay,
It was a contemplative moment before he crushed us again.
We're always goofing and a gabbing, Becky. You got to be at the table for it.
I mean, I do like a game where I win, so.
Well, that's all the games, Gillian. Thank you for listening to Board Game Homies. If you want to play the smallest violin in the world with us, drop us a follow on Instagram, Blue Sky, or Board Game Geek. Bye-bye.
Luthier is the art of the instrument. I need to start over already. I panicked.
I panicked.
This fish right here. This fish. That's pot appropriate, just so you know.